What's good? It is Sam here, and today I wanted to talk about Andrew Yang and his complete and utter domination when it comes to his website relative to all the other Democratic candidates' websites. And so I wanted to talk about it. And if this is your first time here, what's good? My name is Sam, and for those of you who are returning, you had better be pressing that thumbs up button. I mean, it's your second time, bro. You should definitely do it. Okay, so with that, let's get started. So we're gonna go through what the rest of like the country thinks, right? With these like polls, I'm gonna show you real quick. So this is the Democratic Party of voters for Morning Consult, which is a I don't know what the fuck it is, but they put out a ranking, and Real Clear Politics thinks it's credible because they're using it as a data source. So I can't vouch for who fucking I have no idea who they are. But anyways, they have the ranking here, and they have Andrew Yang tied at 6th with Beto O'Rourke. Who the is Beto O'Rourke, right? Like this Beto O'Rourke character is not even like coming up even slightly in anything we're doing on this channel. Well, in terms of analysis of like YouTube search and Google search and social media and whatnot. If you want to check any of that out, go back to the channel and check it out. But Beto O'Rourke is like always right at last. I don't think he's ever even come in 9th in anything we've done. So that's kind of interesting. But what's also kind of interesting is when you go to the bottom here, you get to see how many people responded, right? So this is the methodology right here, and I'm just going to read through a little bit of this section here. Our Democratic Party results are reported using 16,000 interviews with registered voters. So they had interviews with registered voters. I don't know. I think that's right there represents a bias in the sense that you're not going to get people who are busy or who don't want to contribute to this, even though those people are going to have an opinion one way or another that could be some sort of bias in this. Like clearly anybody can see that, right? If you have to have the interviews versus you're excluding a giant fucking portion of the population. Like if you're only going to be interviewing people, like I'm probably not going to take the time to allow somebody to call me and fucking interview me on this phone. I'm be like, no, bitch, I've got fucking things to do. It's my fucking life. Like I'm not going to just take my time and give it to you for no fucking reason. You know what I mean? It just doesn't make any fucking sense. For those of you who know our opinion, blah, 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 leaning direction of results. And basically, they, I think, get a certain number of interviews per day on average. So I don't know. It's clearly super biased, but it is one of the factors that Real Clear Politics, which is a website that's referenced in the media a bunch, uses in their tracking data. So this is what we're doing, but ours is, I'm going to go out there and say, far more accurate because we've taken 7 different factors, our power rankings. So go back to our channel, search the power rankings. You'll get to see these 7 different factors. We've got Google, YouTube search volume, their website ranking, their social media ranking on Twitter, Facebook, and their YouTube channel, and the donations. And when we stack rank all of them, and then we take an average, and that's our power ranking. So it's way, way more representative than all this crap. But I wanted to touch on where the average. So we just looked at one poll, and now we're going to look at the average of all the polls here on Real Clear Politics. And Andrew Yang is ranked number 6th. So you can see that Elizabeth Warren has shown a bunch of progress on their indicators. And Andrew Yang has not. However, Andrew Yang is showing up all over our radar, right? And one of the things that we use on the radar is their website ranking. So right here we have Alexa.com. This is a website owned by Amazon. They gather data and engagement factors for websites, right? And then rank them globally and by nation. So what we have here is the 90-day view for Andrew Yang's website. And you can see that it was basically kind of like declining, and then it started to actually have an inflection point, right? It flattened out for quite a bit of time in July leading up to the debate, right? And then at the debate in July, bam, like he just gets an explosion. It goes up and to the right for, a very short period of time, like a couple of days. as the awareness grows, and then it's been steadily up and to the right. And then we have another pop here, and this is from the second debate where we also had a pop up there, but it looks like the growth rate of that wasn't sustained, because it all flattened out here for a second. So we'll see where it goes into the third coming up debate here. But then you get to see this is on a global basis. And so what we did to stack rank these candidates is we went in through and we looked at the ranking of their site out of all US sites, right? So out of all US websites, where do the candidates' websites rank? And then what we did is we came down and we take a look at this, right? The daily page views per visitor. So what that means is if you have a higher number of page views than me, that means you have a better website or more stimulating content to the users because they're looking at more pages on your site than they are on mine. Now, similarly, it happens with daily time on site. So this is the amount of time somebody spends on the site every time they go and visit, on average, out of all the people who go to the site. And that's 3 minutes and 13 seconds. Because if you have a site that's 3 minutes and 13 seconds of people's time on average when they visit your site, and mine is 1 minute and 24 seconds, clearly you get to see that there's a level of engagement on one that is not on the other because the content and or website or some other factor is stimulating that person on average a lot more to stay on the site. So that's what we did, and we stack ranked the candidate across these three factors, and then we took an average, and this is what it was. Okay, Andrew, and we've done this 3 times. So we did exactly the same thing what I just talked about 3 times. This is the 3rd time. We have on September 2nd, he was ranked number 1. On September 17th, he was ranked number 1. And today, which is 10/8, he was ranked number 1. Complete and utter domination in the month of September and going into mid-October from Andrew Yang. We get to see the trajectory of some of these other candidates as well over this time period. Like you can see that Amy has gained ground, right? She went from 10th to 9th to 8th. So she's gaining awareness. Julian Castro here down at the bottom is losing. He went from 7th to 8th to 10th this time. So let's take a look at each individual factor here. So at the beginning, for page views, Andrew Yang is not ranked number 1. He is ranked number 2, and Elizabeth Warren is ranked number 1. Number 3 is Bernie Sanders. Now, if we go over to the amount of time on the site, on average, and we stack rank those, we have Elizabeth Warren is number 1 again, with Andrew Yang coming up number 2. And I want to explain something here. When we get into the popularity of their site in the U.S., we stack rank those. Andrew Yang is number 1 and Elizabeth Warren is number 2. So if the astute among you remember when I said I take an average, it is not an equally weighted average, right? Because anybody would know that 2 plus 2 plus 1 and then you average that is going to be higher than 1 plus 1 plus 2 as an average. So what I do, and I didn't mean this is how I've structured it from the beginning, so I haven't changed the structure of it to influence a decision at all. I've started this way. My intuition says that their ranking as a US site, meaning the popularity of the site in the US out of all sites in the US, is the most relevant factor here, because these other ones can be relevant, but the actual level of their site, meaning how many people are going there, is much greater than other ones. That's the most relevant factor. The other 2 are important, right? The time on the site and the page views, but that doesn't say anything about their absolute value, right? Somebody could be ranked 100,000th and have 6 minutes on the site, on the website on average per visitor, and somebody could be ranked 10,000th and have 4 minutes, right? So that is the rationale behind why I did this. And what I did here is I did 20% from the first 2 factors, right? Page views and the time on the site, because those I do think capture some value, and I did 60% from the popularity, the absolute ranking. So Andrew Yang is more than twice as popular. His website is more than twice as popular as Elizabeth Warren, who's the next closest to him. And then number 3 is Bernie Sanders, and he's more than 3 times more popular of a website than Bernie Sanders. So I think we can really see what's going on here, and it also gives us an indicator that. Because I looked at the page, the ranking of his site over time, right? Actually, I can pull this up for you real quick and show you. So this is the data from the first 2 times I did it, right? So if we look here, Andrew Yang's website ranked in the U.S. was 2,000 and 2,115, right? And then when I did it again on the 17th of, so like 2 weeks later, it was 2,014th. So he's increasing his ranking in the US over time. And then you come up to now, and it's had an even greater of an impact, right? So the growth rate of Andrew Yang on his website is just tremendous. But yeah, if you guys have any thoughts on any of this, let me know down below in the comments. And when you're down below in the comments, if you push the hashtag Stolt and then your comment, you can have a chance of getting it read at the end of the video and answered on the end of these videos. So if you leave it down below, I will do it, and that is where we're about to get into. By the way, on the way down there, make sure you press that subscribe button. Okay, so look at this. Actually, we have somebody who left the exact comment to get answered at the end of the videos. And look at this. Okay, so we have Stolt. So this is myself. I actually left this comment myself, so I'm answering my own comment here. But this is how you want to structure it. You want to have where it reads hashtag Stolt, yes, you should subscribe. That's you guys. You should subscribe. That's a good comment, whoever left that one. Okay, so let's come down here and let's read this. So this is in regards to Andrew Yang raising 10 million versus Trump bringing in 125 million. If you want to check that video, go to the channel. Andrew Yang speaks to the American. Andrew Yang, by the way, this is from Letty Pampa. Thank you so much. Andrew speaks to the American people on the ground with his logic and transparency. Yang for the win, baby. Trump will be disappointed as Yang soars to victory. I almost feel like I'm reading a book there for a second, but thank you so much, Letty, for the comment. I do think that the establishment that is the DNC is regarding the, I want to say, gorilla in the room, or like the fucking issue that Andrew Yang is tremendous force that he's building around him. And I don't think the establishment is even slightly recognizing the amount of support that Andrew Yang has based on like the data and analytics that we're looking at. He's building a lot of support. There's a bunch of candidates that are growing, but the growth rate for him is just absolutely tremendous. So I think that he could potentially be the nominee, or in that, you know what I mean? He's already, I think, around, I would say around 4th, like in the top 3, right? Like sometimes tied with 3rd to 4th, but I feel like he's in the top 3 already, like very close, and in some areas like easily number 1, if not number 2 in a few different places. So let's go through and just get one more here. Okay, so we have another one with a hashtag, but this one says Yang is the POTUS for Americans. And this is relating to Andrew Yang dominating the search volume on YouTube. And POTUS, did you know, means President of the United States. I didn't learn that until I was I don't know, I was like probably 4 years ago. I had no idea what that meant. Anyways, we should wrap this up. Don't forget to press that subscribe button, press that thumbs up button. Also, share this video with somebody else who you think can get some value out of this. If you want to bring the message of what we're doing to more people, to allow people to understand what is taking place and get a much more transparent and authentic understanding based on the actual data versus these biased polls or whatnot, then share this video with somebody, or at least tell somebody about what we're doing. If you don't want to share my video, just tell people about what we're doing, and just that ideology of like, there's a way to get the actual information that doesn't just come third or fourth or fifth second hand with 15 different interpretations along the way of the data. We get to go to the data and we can interpret it ourselves, not through four other people's eyes before it gets to us, just as a description. So if you want to support it, then share this video with somebody. And peace out.